Hello, friends.
Hello, Rev heads.
Rev heads, faithful worshipers. We are here tonight to do today. Good
Whenever you're
morning.
watching this, we're
Whenever you're
here.
watching this, we're here because this staying home thing, staying safe, has lasted a lot longer than we initially thought.
And it's going to last longer yet.
Yes. When we initially made the call, we thought a couple weeks, get through, we'll be okay. And now I think we're over the 2 month point almost.
Been a couple of months, and we're still going.
Yeah.
So we wanted to help you try to create a sacred space in your home, a space where you can feel connected as you enter into worship with us, as you are in prayer, something that feels holy as you are doing your worship and your prayer at home.
Because we acknowledge this is different.
This is very different.
It's different for us. It's different for you. We all have certain feelings and expectations when we come into worship, when we walk through the doors of a building that we have intentionally set aside and consecrated for that purpose. It's a different sense. It's a different spirit. But just because we're not in that building doesn't mean we can't have that.
That sacred space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a long time, people had altars in their home, not for the purpose of like sacrificing animals or things like that, but for the purpose of having a set aside sacred space to draw your attention away from all of the muss and fuss of life and draw yourself into a closer connection with God and with each other. And so we want to give you some tips and tricks and ideas on how to do that in your home that has now become a church building,
Yes.
for lack of a better term. And we're going to acknowledge right now that Bree and I have a lot of...
This was a fun activity.
Yeah.
We went around the house looking for things that sparked a spiritual connection in us, whether it was a sense of community, whether it was a warm memory, a sense of hope or comfort or love. And as I hope you can see, we found a lot of things. Your things will be different
and
than
that's
our
okay.
things.
And that's
but we'd
okay.
like to share with you some of the things that we have found that might be on our family altar.
Something most of you should have would be like your church directory. First and St. Matthew's and Cherry Hill all have quasi-recently updated photo directories and directories of just names and numbers. These are things that we use when we're praying for you and to remind us of your beautiful smiling faces and all of those things. So you can have that handy for your altar.
I
that's
appreciate
helpful as
the
well.
front gives you a sense of connection. I think on all
Yeah.
three of these of what that space might look like if you were there.
Yeah.
And then inside is a reminder of the community that we're a part of,
That's
and,
right.
and a reminder of how we can be praying for one another. So that's a great idea.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note that whatever you do have, whatever you bring in is okay.
Yeah.
It can change from week to week.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me has ideas spinning of instead of hanging up the backdrops that we've been doing on Sunday mornings, what would it be if we cleared off the piano on Saturday and reset it as kind of our sacred space altar backdrop?
That would
each
be a
week?
great idea. That would be a lot of work.
Be a lot of
We'll talk
work.
about that.
Some
of the other things.
But yeah.
So in that same vein, I grabbed one of our family pictures, which is actually off the piano, where we have many family pictures. In these days when we feel separated from our loved ones, it helps me to have a visual there to feel connected with them and to be praying for them when I'm in that time of worship. So
one of the things that can help you as you're putting together your home altar and gathering things from the house is to sit for a minute and think about that feeling, that sight, that image, that smell, whatever it is when you walk into the sanctuary at whether it's First or St. Matthew's or Cherry Hill or whatever your usual house of worship is, and think about the things that stick out to you that make that special. For some, it's stained glass, and so within like 3 minutes, Bree took an old candy jar and painted a little stained glass scene on it.
And this just acrylic paint. I used a Sharpie at first, so if you have markers at home, whatever kind of paint you might have at home, you can glue tissue paper to the outside of a mason jar, a peanut butter jar. Be mindful around fire.
Yeah, some of you may have actual stained glass. We have this piece of stained glass was made in memory of our son and given to us. And so we have this around. So if stained glass is something, you can do that with markers. You can do that with acrylic paints. They have stained glass paints that some of you may have. You can draw a picture. Use crayons. Make it whatever you need to do to kind of bring that feeling in. One of the other pieces that can be crucial with a home altar is a candle. And you can do big candles, little candles. You can do the Yankee candles. This is
smell.
This is Mia Bella's.
If smells are helpful to you, you can dig out your Christmas candles if that's what you have down in the basement.
You can burn incense. You can do all sorts of things. But the main point of having the candle in church, when we light candles, it's about bringing in and representing the light of Christ. Setting that time when that light comes in, it's there to cast out the darkness.
It's a sense of God's presence with us, and God is not just present in the church building.
That's right. So a candle can be that for you. We also have different crosses.
This is actually a cross made out of one of the pews.
Yeah. This one is made out of olive wood and came from the Holy Land.
And there's a rosary
there's
over
a
there that was
rosary,
a gift from a friend of ours, which is just beautiful and a guide as you're praying. So whatever crosses you might have that make you feel like you are in a sacred space, that God is there with you.
One of the other things that we have in church quite often are paraments, cloths,
It's a fancy name for the cloth that's on the altar
and
or on the pulpit.
This is actually just one of my favorite scarves that I got in the Holy Land.
Now be careful with scarves and
scarves
fire.
and flames, but it can be,
maybe a placemat, a tablecloth, a scarf, a pillowcase. Especially if you have. I have one that I didn't bring down, but my great aunt embroidered butterflies on it. It is I'm afraid to use it because I don't want to ruin it, but it would make a lovely altar cloth. Things that make you feel connected.
Yep, we have some sticks that Grandma found when she was working out in the yard that looked pretty cool. Natural elements.
We have a flower. We actually have a flower this week, so thought that was beautiful. Borrowed that. Fake flowers are also welcome. We have some little, I went down in our Christmas shelves and I brought up the shepherd. Would have been very handy when we were talking about the Good Shepherd.
That's right.
The shepherd and the sheep. I also found a beautiful little reminder that there's joy even in the dark times. So if you have something like that, hope, joy, love, something that brings a sense of that connection and that joy into this season, add it to your altar.
That's right. We've got seashells and painted rocks, mustard seeds. Excuse me.
Keychain.
It
says the light always returns. That's one of my favorites.
It is one of those things. It's a discipline. It's a practice you can do. You can make it the same every week. You can make it different. You can change it once a month. But I think there might be some benefit for all of us in taking that time each week to set up the altar, to turn off everything else as we come together and worship on Sunday morning. And have this, that we all, though separate, are lighting our candles together.
Yes.
We are all having our altar space together. Though they may look different and though they may be miles and miles apart, we are coming together in that same way. Bree and I are working on for tomorrow morning and for for other Sunday mornings. After that, we are working on a special opening prayer or blessing to bless all of our home altars. at the beginning of the service. It'd be a prayer that you will all say with us as we bless the space we're in, as we consecrate it to the purpose of worship.
Can I suggest, too, you may want to have a notebook
Oh, yeah.
by your altar.
Yeah, I brought that over. Bible,
Place
notebook.
to write down your prayer requests. You could actually have, if you have Post-it notes or note cards, physically lay the names of those people and those things you're praying for. And then throughout the week, as you come back to your sacred space, you have reminders of who it is that you have covenanted to be in prayer for throughout the week, in a sense that even when you're not at that altar, they are still there in God's presence. It's a very powerful thing.
Yeah. And like we did on Palm Sunday, you can create things out of construction paper. You can make a painting. You can do any number of things. And we're going to do our best to try and have things out to you early, as far as Scripture. So maybe you can
It's a
find
dream
yourself
for the future.
find yourself a theme. Well, we have through Pentecost figured out.
Have we shared that though?
With musicians we have, but we
We're
can
gonna
share
do
that.
better.
We're going to do better. We can share that with you now that we have a project for you each week to maybe try and go thematically. And here is the cool thing I would like for you to do: when you make your altar, take a picture of it and post it on the church's Facebook page.
Oh, that'd be lovely.
So we can see each other's home altars. You'll get to see ours because I have a feeling we're going to do the piano at least this week.
Yes, we are.
That means I'm doing it. But anyway, please do that. Please share your altars with us, and please take the time to do that and make that time special, because it's not just sitting down to watch a Facebook video. This is us gathering together to worship together.
Well said.
All right.
All right.
Anything else? Did I forget
Blessings
anything?
on you, friends, as you create your altars, as you create space that is holy and set apart in your homes. We look forward to sharing that space with you as we come together in worship.
Peace be with you.
Peace be with you. We need an official sign off. If you're gonna go with, "Hey, Rev heads, what's our get out of here? It's over. Go home." What's our sign off gonna be?
You want to go with the Ferris Bueller sign off?
If it ain't broke.